University of Health and Allied Sciences, Professor John Japong, criticized the decision.
The laws that set up the universities that I have seen, there is no mention of an interim council. So I'm not too sure what it is.
But a member of the Katanga Hall alumni at KNUST, Nana J. Black, welcomes the decision. It remains to be seen the action these stakeholders will take in response to the decision.
What you just heard is a news report put together by Joseph Opoku Gakpo, and that brings to fore all the issues that have come up so far. Government has appointed an interim management committee, which is being opposed strongly by UTAG. Questions have been raised by other vice chancellors, and this morning we want to ask the simple questions: is government doing a legal thing? It's what it's doing. Is this action legal? And what should government have done if it is not? Joining us on the line to give us insight into the matter is Martin Pebu, a private legal practitioner. Good morning, Mr. Pebu. Thanks for your time.
Yes, good morning, Daniel.
In the first place, is government doing the right thing according to our law?
To be candid, I must say that practically it would appear that that is legal to the extent that you say it's the president who appoints the governing bodies of public corporations and also the Council of National Higher Education. In between these two, the president has been appointing members of the University Council. So if the president, they've decided, now of course I presume that the minister, by doing that, he has delegated power. If they decided to dissolve the University Council, it would appear that it's grounded in law.
But the University Council has members that are not appointed by the president. For instance, the rep for UTAG is supposed to be on the University Council, like the SRC president and the president for the Graduate Students Association, GRASAG. So, to the extent that the president has appointed 7 people and has said this is the interim management council, and so it's complete without UTAG's rep, is it legal?
So, you see, it's our constitutional architecture. The Constitution says that he should appoint the members of the governing councils, of public corporations, and then you have a Council of National Higher Education. That's why I earlier stated that it doesn't mention university expressly, but that's the way it's being interpreted in practice. So once again, it's when matters come like this and we begin to interrogate, then you see that the wording of the Constitution is not so clear. It just says governing bodies of public corporations, and then there's the other one for higher national education. You see, so yeah. If you go, that's as a following from the Constitution, the universities have their various acts of parliament. So let's say University of Ghana's own. Inside the act, then they expressly state that pursuant to the article I've just mentioned, Article 70, the president shall appoint the chairman and the council members of the university council, the university council. You see,
but you see, I'm glad you brought up the issue of the governing laws for the university itself, because again, taking a cue from the University of Ghana as well, it says here that the governing body of the university is a council consisting of the chancellor, a chairperson, the vice chancellor, and then it says here 4 persons appointed by the president, taking into account the need for gender balance, expertise in finance and expertise in management. And then it goes to another point: 1 representative of the alumni of the university, 2 representatives of convocation, 1 from the non-teaching staff, and it goes on to talk about the NCTE representative. And there are a number of other people who are supposed to be on council. So again, it seems like in the thinking of the framers of the law, the president has a limit as to the number of people he can appoint onto the university council.
Oh, yeah, I see where you're coming from. Do you know how it turns out? In practice, this is how it turns. So there are the 4 that they would appoint directly. Then the other members, even when they are, sending constituencies have sent them, proposed them onto the council, they are then all eventually appointed by the president. Because you see, like if you're using the Act 806, the University of Ghana Act, Section 8 makes it clear, and let me read for this in clarity. The president shall be sorry, the president shall, in accordance with Article 70 of the Constitution, appoint the chairperson and other members of the University Council. So when you have proposed, let's say SRC, they bring the SRC president, they bring their representative, convocation, they bring theirs. When all those persons have been proposed and brought on, then there is that formality that they are all appointed again. So it's a formality, but it's also written in the law. Maybe moving forward, we would need to do something about it. But to the extent that, and they are even sworn in by the minister, right? You see? So
yes,
from
they are.
the way it's organized, it gives the president so much power.
But
Yes,
does it necessarily give the president power to ignore the recommendation of UTAG and all of these other bodies? Because again, it says clearly in the law that we are reading that these representatives must come from these bodies.
Very good. Yes. So in practice, he mustn't ignore. No. So I should think that, usually because we are not privy to all the advice you would get, it's difficult to say ignore unless we are shown all the advice. So what should be done is that's why on the ground, to the extent that they said an interim body, maybe we should put pressure so that instead of the 3 months, they reduce it and quickly constitute the council properly. Yes, because you see, the way it works is that you would not find a law that can take care of every conceivable situation. There would always be lacunas here and there. So the best way forward is that instead of the initial 3 months, UTAG and all the other interested stakeholders should push for it to be reduced maybe a month, within which a proper council should be constituted. I think that would be middle ground.
Speaking of a lacuna, which is, of course, a space in our laws, UTAG believes that there are enough provisions within the existing statutes so that governments do not necessarily have to form an interim management council. Of course, a creation like this is not really... it's sort of new when you look at the laws that govern the university. Do you think that this situation calls for something as extreme as the formation of an IMC?
You see, whichever way we look at it, it shouldn't be the name. And there's this common concept, it's substance over form. So whether you call it IMC or the real university council, it's about seeing to the job. So it's the substance that matters, okay? And that is how we should look at it. So that's something that it would look like the best in the circumstances would be to shorten the lifespan of the interim council, because you definitely can't leave a lacuna. No. You can't have the university council being dissolved and then there is nobody to take charge. You see, we have to be practical about it. So the best way forward is to say that, look, reduce the lifespan of the interim council and then reconstitute the council quickly.
Okay, so it's your stated opinion, Mr. Pebu, that UTAG does not have a case according to the laws that you've looked at?
From the way it is, on the face of it, that's why once it's a constitution, usually the Supreme Court has the final say. They may want to, go to court so that in future, maybe not this particular one, because by the time the court case is resolved, this case would have been resolved politically and that's administratively by government. But for future purposes, because from the way it's stated, the power belongs to the president. He should appoint the governing bodies. And then if you combine it with this National Council for Higher Education, those things in between, the interstices of these two. And as I mentioned, you see when they come to the act, like as we mentioned, the University of Ghana Act, they say he should appoint the chairman and the other members. By the KNUST one, it's, also modeled, in actual fact, it's still in its old form, but it takes the same form. So the president wields that power on the face of it.
Okay, Mr. Martin Pebu, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Before you go, though, away from the legal issues, do you think that this is the best move from a governance perspective, if I can proffer that opinion from you? Do you think this is the best move government should have taken, looking at the various stakeholders involved?
Oh, to be candid, Daniel, you put me on the spot. I've been extremely tight. I've not been able to analyze it. So for once, this one, let me hold judgment. Before, usually I would say it as it is once I see it. But this particular one, I've been tight. So I haven't really had that space to look at it critically.
Thank you very much, Martin Pegbu, for joining us this morning. He's a private legal practitioner. He joined us on the line for some insights into the matter having to do with the formation of an interim management council. So he speaks simply that with the formation of the law as it is now, the law places immense powers in the hands of the president, so that even though the president appoints persons whose names are forwarded to him from some of these bodies we have named, it is still the prerogative of the president to make those appointments. So he's acting within his rights. He makes two recommendations. The first of all being the fact that the IMC's tenure of 3 months should be shortened to 1 month so that things can return to normal. And number two, Utah can in the future seek to go to court so that these laws are reviewed to remove some of these powers from the presidency. So that's it with Mr. Martin Pegbu. I don't know what your opinion is on what you have heard, but you can send it in on 0244 340 437. You can also tweet at us at Joy997FM, Joy99.7 FM on Facebook. What we'll do is we want to hear from you. So we'll take these important messages. When we come back, we'll open the phone lines so you can also comment on the matter. Give us a moment, we'll be back.
You buy a blade that doesn't cut. How about a freezer that doesn't cool enough to freeze? And what of medicine that wouldn't cure you or take your pain away?
No way!
So why would you buy a mattress that does not provide you with good quality sleep and rest? As humans, we spend about a third of our lives in bed. Since you are going to spend that much time, wouldn't you rather be lying on a mattress that is clean and just right for your body? Be smart. Treat yourself well. Don't spend 1/3 of your life sleeping on the wrong mattress. Or else, you do yourself. Latest Foam, your partner for life.
Nationwide Medical Insurance, the leader in private health insurance, has deployed superior technology to make your healthcare experience more convenient and exciting. With the Nationwide mobile app, you can order your prescription drugs and we will deliver to your doorsteps. With over 600 dependable healthcare service providers, you're just a step away locating your service provider of choice and accessing hospital claim information in real time. Our corporate clients are guaranteed timely corporate utilization reports. We provide on-site clinics to give employees access to healthcare in the comfort of their offices. Enjoy these amazing benefits and so much more by signing on to Nationwide Medical Insurance today. Call us on toll-free number 0800-222222 or visit our website www.nationwidemh.com. Nationwide Medical Insurance. Join the healthcare family.
Move on up, 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 up.
Moving on up is paying from your phone and getting looks of approval from your friends. Moving on up is doing all your banking from your bathroom like a boss. Moving on up is losing your wallet, but your money is still safe. Moving on up is attaching any bank's card to the EcoBank mobile app. Oh yeah, download the EcoBank mobile app. Make we go and bank like a boss.
Move on up with EcoBank, the Pan-African bank.
It's the most action-packed breakfast show in town. The hottest music, the best giveaways, the great interviews, and all the laughter and fun you can imagine. Don't miss the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. It's the best breakfast show in town.
Baby, I know you like it. Straight from me, oh baby. That thing will be fake. If I can hurry one for sleeper, Dubai sweet. Only Baba can bless my tomorrow. Amount. How much be your amount? Amount. How much be your amount? Yeah, amount. How much be your amount? Amount. How much be your amount? Okay, I'm out. How much be your amount? Ferrari, I'm out. My Rolex, I'm out. Every day and night, oh, we the party, I do. Can I get my girl and my scream say freedom, 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 freedom. Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. Freedom, 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 freedom. Shut up, 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 shut up. Freedom, 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 freedom. Shut up, shut up, shut up.
And the man himself is joining us today on the Super Morning Show. He did this.
Shut up.
He said only 6 words. How did he come up with that? What inspires his music process?
My name is Shatta One. Freedom.
We'll be going into all of these issues today on the Super Morning Show when Shatta Wale joins us in a moment. But we're going to stay for a moment with the decision by government to appoint an interim management committee for KNUST after the debacle that went down this week, culminating in the, well, it's really starting from that demonstration that went violent on Monday. We've been joined on the line by a former president of the National Union of Ghana Students, KNUST, Hamza Suhuyini. Now, Hamza was part of the committee that reviewed the act, the University of Ghana Legon Act, and so he has some insights into the governing laws that the laws really that govern universities in the country. Hamza, good morning and thanks for joining us.
Good morning to you and good morning to your cherished listeners.
What are your reservations with government's decision?
I think, first of all, when there is an issue like we have on our hands, in the case of the KNUST impasse, the assumption proceeding forward is that we still are not yet more or less briefed with the realities on the ground as to what really caused the disturbances, apart from what the pieces of information we have all picked on the media and our relationship with some of the students. So for me, the quick manner with which government is handling it is quite disturbing, especially the dissolution of the council. I am of the opinion that that first indication clearly seemed to suggest that the council was complicit in the way and manner the whole issue was handled. And if you have not done any pre-investigation, what would be the basis for such a conclusion that would eventually lead to the dissolution of the former council, then an institution of an IMC to handle it? So that is one. I think that the best thing should have been government simply could have formed an investigative committee or put up together a committee to look into the actual reasons behind the disturbances on campus. And if along the way, or the final committee, the committee's report finally suggests that the council was complicit and the vice chancellor himself was complicit in the manner in which they have been dealing with the students, then that would have been sound basis for the government to dissolve the council, then move ahead to even more or less suspend the vice chancellor. But that is not the case. We have not gotten to that decision yet. So it is difficult to understand why before.
So Hamza, your challenges are government rushed into this decision.
Absolutely, I think that.
But is it within government's rights
not to proceed on the basis of the dissolution of the council?
That's fine. That's fine. You made that point earlier, but is it within their rights? I mean, from your experience looking at the review of UG's laws, is it within government's rights to dissolve the council in the first place?
That, quite honestly, I will not pretend to you to be a lawyer, but from all indications and what I know, I think that it is going to be difficult for government to do so. Government equally has representation on the board, on the governing councils of the institutions. And of course, in most cases, government, more or less, especially when it comes to some of these public institutions, have some kind of leverage when it comes to the way and manner these institutions are managed. But you and I know that the institutions have been having running battles with government in terms of their autonomy. So to go into the legalities of whether government has the right or not is one issue, which I am clearly not vexed with because I cannot pretend to be a lawyer. But if you are looking at administrative points, and most importantly, good governance practices, one would have thought that government wouldn't have rushed into the dissolution of the governing council in the first place. Like I indicated earlier, the best response would have been to form a committee to look into the conduct of first the governing council and the university management as a whole. based on which the committee would present its report to government. If government deems it appropriate to invoke processes to dissolve the governing council, then so be it.
So what are the implications of this decision then, Hamzat, since you feel it's a rush?
I think that the implications are quite clear. It means that already government is convinced that the governing council was complicit in the manner in which they handled the student unrest. So if you have passed your own verdict, why the rush to form an interim management committee to come out with a report? If subsequently that report exonerates the board that you have dissolved, what happens to the fate of the board then? Are you going to reconstitute the board, or you are bringing the old board? And so these are some of the concerns we are raising. And just to chip in another angle, you see, unfortunately, in the midst of all this, the concerns of the students are lost.
How are they lost?
They are lost because today, the discussions have shifted from the way and from the real concerns of the students to the institution of the report, of a committee to look into the actual disturbances on campus. Probably, what I thought we should have done, first of all, was simply for government, the Ministry of Education, to engage the student leaders, solicit their views. If in the process, government deems it appropriate for us to even form that committee in the first place, we proceed to form. But if after engaging the student leaders, government feels that, look, government can be that umpire and broker peace between the university management and that of the student leadership, government would have done that without necessarily incurring an additional cost.
But Hamza, we know on authority that government has consulted the students. The Minister of Education did meet the SRC leadership, and they have even made demands of the new interim management council. Some concessions have been made. The SRC has released a statement.
And so it brings me back to my first point. So clearly, if government has met with the student leadership, and they have made concessions, and the old board is gone, it means that government already has taken a decision that the old board was complicit, or old council was complicit. Am I right?
Right. Thank you very much, Hamza.
You see, there's one key thing I have always said, and I want to use your medium to re-equate it again. I have been a student leader all my life, from secondary school to training college to university level. And I can tell you, and this goes to our student leaders, when you are entrusted with the responsibility to lead, the responsibility becomes double fold. You owe duties to the students who gave you their mandate, and most importantly, you owe some responsibilities to the state as a citizen of this republic.
Okay.
So when you are elected, the students on one breath would want you to be like them.
Mm-hmm.
In another, they want you to be better than them. And in actual sense, it is because they want you to be somehow better than them that they gave you the mandate out of the lot in the first place.
Right.
So when you are made SRC president of an institution like KNUST, you must find an intelligent way of striking a balance between the responsibilities you owe the students and your responsibility to the state.
Thank you very much, Hamza Suhini, for joining us this morning. He's a former president of the National Union of Ghana Students, and he was giving us his insights into the decision that has been taken by government. He believes that government rushed into the formation of the Interim Management Council, that is the dissolution of the original council. He believes that this shows government has accepted that the old vice-chancellor, the old management council, was complicit in some of these things that happened. They've agreed with the students, and so they're just going on to, in quote, punish them. And I have a guest in my studio. Good morning, Shatawale.
Morning.
Charlie, how be?
Everything good, man.
Nice one. So Shatta and I are going to be talking a lot. First of all, I want to know how DJ Roberts' name ended up in the song.
Oh,
yes.
You know,
you'll be answering that for me.
Okay,
in a moment.
all
Give me a second. So we're going to take some important messages and then we'll be speaking to Shatawale. Of course, we're still taking your questions, so tweet at us as Joy997FM. Go on our Facebook page, Joy99.7FM, and send us a WhatsApp message, 0244-340-437. But do you know that paying your tax is a civic responsibility? Do you know that your taxes build the nation? Do you know how to register for a TIN, that's a taxpayer identification number? Do you know how to file your tax returns? Or the tax laws of Ghana? Do you know what you can be rewarded if you report tax evasion and your identity is protected? For answers to all these questions, visit opentaxghana.com. # our taxes, our future. This is powered by the Africa Center for Energy Policy ASAP. We're going to take these important messages. When we come back, we talk with Shatta. Stay with us.
It's a new day. I want you to first think big, not small.